Marianne Williamson suspends her presidential campaign, ending. Washington, AP. Self-help author and spiritual guru Marianne Williamson on Wednesday announced the end of her long-shot Democratic challenge to President Joe Biden. The 71-year-old one-time spiritual advisor to Oprah Winfrey contemplated suspending her campaign last month after winning just 5,000 votes in New Hampshire's primary, writing that she had to decide whether now is the time for a dignified exit or continue on our campaign journey. But Williamson ultimately opted to continue on for 2 more primaries. She won just 2% of the vote in South Carolina and about 3% in Nevada. I hope future candidates will take what works for them, drinking from the well of information we prepared, Williamson wrote in announcing the end of her bid. My team and I brought to the table some great ideas, and I will take pleasure when I see them live on in campaigns and candidates yet to be created. Minnesota Representative Dean Phillips is the last nationally known Democrat still running against Biden, who has scored blowout victories in South Carolina and Nevada and easily won in New Hampshire, despite not being on the ballot. After his allies mounted a write-in campaign, Williamson first ran for president in 2020 and made national headlines by calling for a moral uprising against then-President Donald Trump while proposing the creation of the Department of Peace. She also argued that the federal government should pay large financial reparations to Black Americans as atonement for centuries of slavery and discrimination. File. Democratic presidential candidate Marianne Williamson speaks at the Interfaith Center for Spiritual Growth, September 10, 2023, in Ann Arbor, Michigan. Williamson has suspended her campaign, ending her long-shot challenge to President Joe Biden. AP photo, Jose Juarez. Her second White House bid featured the same non-traditional campaigning style and many of the same policy proposals. She struggled to raise money and was plagued by staff departures from her bid's earliest stages. She tweaked Biden, an avid Amtrak fan, by announcing her campaign at Washington's Union Station. She campaigned especially hard in New Hampshire, hoping to capitalize on state Democrats' frustration with the president. That followed a new plan by the Democratic National Committee, championed by Biden, that reordered the party's 2024 presidential primary calendar by leading off with South Carolina on February 3. Williamson acknowledged from the start that it was unlikely she would beat Biden, but she argued in her launch speech in March that it is our job to create a vision of justice and love that is so powerful that it will override the forces of hatred and injustice and fear. The DNC isn't holding primary debates, and some states' Democratic parties, including in North Carolina and Florida, aren't even planning primaries to give Biden's challengers a chance. A Texas native who now lives in Beverly Hills, California, Williamson is the author of more than a dozen books and ran an unsuccessful independent congressional campaign in California in 2014. She ended her 2020 presidential run shortly before the lead-off Iowa caucuses, announcing that she didn't want to take progressive support from Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont, who was ultimately the last candidate to drop out before Biden locked up the nomination.